Let's go to Steve Kornacki now for an opportunity here to kind of tie everything together. Steve, it's one thing for us to hear from voters on the ground, but then we have to look at the data to see if one or two anecdotal accounts of how voters are feeling actually is applying to everyone. What are the polls telling us right now about where things stand?
Yeah, Ryan, we're looking at numbers in the polls that have moved this fall and really moved, I think, starting with the government shutdown in a way that's concerning for the president and for his party. So take a look right now. This is the average, the real clear average, all the different polls that are out there right now in terms of Trump's approval rating, 43%. Disapproval, you see, is basically 55. Here's the switch, though, from the start of the fall, basically from Labor Day. This is what it looked like. And again, remember, Trump as a president, his numbers have kind of been in a pretty narrow range, historically speaking. And around Labor Day, he was doing, by his own standard, his first and second term, he was doing pretty good. 45-50 here, approve, disapprove. And you can see that now that gap has more than doubled, basically to 12 points in the course of the fall. And it really did accelerate during that shutdown in October. And we certainly saw that reflected, I think, in those results in New Jersey and Virginia. Put this in some historical context here. Again, these are sort of modern presidents at this same point, looking at where their approval rating was. You see, again, we say Trump right now, 43%. This is basically a year out from the midterms for these previous presidents right here. And again, you see that Trump number. It's in basically that range. Remember, in the 2010 midterms, Obama and the Democrats got wiped out. In 2013, very bad midterm for the Democrats. 2018, Trump's first term, very bad midterm. It was a blue wave, bad midterm for the Republicans. The interesting one here is Joe Biden. You see where his number was at this point in his term. The 22 midterms, the Republicans got control of the House, but it wasn't the red wave Republicans were expecting. It actually was Democrats held up better than they thought they would, especially given these numbers. Why? Because in those midterms in 22, Democrats ended up making Trump a big issue. Trump ended up being a liability in some ways for Republicans in that midterm. And that's one of the things Republicans have kind of been hoping might help them in next year's midterms, that the Democratic Party's image has been so low in polling. And that's why I wanted to show you this. These are the two most recent polls we have since the November election about the views of each party. Two polls so far. We'll see how this develops. You see the Republicans, 38 favorable, 39 unfavorable, well over 50 unfavorable in each one of these polls. Now, what we've been seeing for a while is that the Democrats were much more unpopular than the Republicans. But in these two polls, not that big of a gap. Look here, in the Fox News poll, 39-58 for the Republicans, 39-58 for the Democrats. In this Economist YouGov poll, again, not much of a gap. So one of the things Republicans have been talking about is maybe being a bit of a boost for them in the midterms has been that the Democratic numbers had been so low. In the two polls we've seen since the November elections, though, not a huge gap between the parties in these two polls. See if that's the start of a trend over the next year. And we just end with this one, Ryan. This is the generic congressional ballot. Which party do you want to control Congress? It's basically a 5-point advantage for Democrats right now. Now, at this same point in the 2018 cycle, that blue wave midterm, it was twice as high. So the climate is not that sort of 5 alarm, you might say, for the Republicans yet. But to be down 5 points a year out from the midterms with the trend lines we're showing you, that's very concerning for them.
It does also seem that people just don't like any of the political parties on any level right now, Steve. And we'll have to see how that plays itself out in the midterm. Steve Kornacki, as always, terrific job. We appreciate it.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.